I really do wonder if Isaiah has ever had a time of glory. It doesn't seem like it because I've never seen him been talked about. Like, ever. I mean, I don't know. Boomy played him in some tourney a couple of years back. I don't exactly recall. But that didn't exactly spark popularity for him as other legends did. My Isaiah on console is pretty high level. I think level 28. But I'll be honest, I kinda suck ass at Cannon now. Although I've been loving blasters as of lately, so maybe I could learn Cannon better and get back into the gist of playing Isaiah. Although it's a bit tough. His SIGs aren't exactly the easiest to use, so let's look at them. Blaster Insig is okay in some situations, and by some I mean not a lot. It has a very skinny hitbox and it doesn't go well with a lot of Blaster's light attacks. You might be able to line up some moves with it, but it'll most likely be dodgeable. I'm dared to say it's his worst SIG and probably one of the worst SIGs in the game, although it has good force. Blaster side SIG can be a bit tricky. The area it hits in isn't too generous, which can make it really difficult to use. It's a bit lengthy as well. It's better than Insig, but honestly not the greatest SIG ever. Blaster down SIG is where the good stuff starts happening. A small hitting effect hits before the actual attack comes out, which is pretty interesting. It's actually a very satisfying SIG to hit, and great for edgeguarding with, since it goes down pretty low and hits pretty hard. His best blaster SIG by far. Cannon Insig shoots a missile above you. Not a bad SIG honestly, but again, not super great. It can definitely catch opponents above you, but using a cannon in air would be much safer. Insig might be more flashy, but less safe. Although, downlight Insig on cannon is true. It's a bit specific, but totally doable. I'd suggest learning that. Cannon side SIG moves pretty slowly, unfortunately, which makes it not as good. I still think it's okay, and stringing it into Cannon's kit I don't think would be too hard, depending on where your opponent dodges. Same case for Cannon down SIG. It's another SIG that hits enemies downwards, which is an upside already, but throwing it into a combo might not be too hard. Especially when going into a combo that's going off stage. Not as satisfying as Blaster down SIG in my opinion, but still pretty satisfying. Overall, I'd have to say Isaiah's Blaster kit is better. His SIGs flow much better with blasters, while Cannon doesn't. He has probably one of the worst Cannon kits, if I'm being honest. Now, Isaiah has some damn good skins, so let's take a look at them. God tier has Admiral Isaiah and Brawl Dad Isaiah. Any legend with a fancy skin is automatically S tier, let's admit that. And Brawl Dad gives me huge Grillmaster 76 vibes. I honestly forgot that Cybernetic beat Isaiah existed, mainly because it's a Battle Pass skin, and I missed out on it unfortunately because I switched to PC just in April. I really missed Season 2 as well. Either way, pretty damn good skin. Task Force and Shadow Ops are pretty decent, each for their own reasons, and then Section 0 is just okay. I like the weapons, but everything else about it is just sort of meh. Tier list wise, out of SA, B, C, and D, I'd have to place Isaiah in just C tier. We all know S tier is super strong broken legends, A tier is about balanced, B tier is a bit underpowered but still pretty viable, and C tier is pretty underpowered. It can be very difficult to get a good grasp around legends in C tier, and while there aren't many of them in C tier, Isaiah is one of those legends. Blasters is agreed on as one of the worst weapons in Brawlhalla currently, and while I'm dared to agree, blasters can still be played extremely well under the right hands. I don't think blasters are the reason Isaiah is bad. It's mostly his cannon game, but both weapons combined just don't go good together. It's a good concept for a legend, yes, but the weapons just aren't good. His SIGs are also very lackluster and don't do well on their own or with Isaiah's kit. And people might say his stats suck too, although I think they're okay actually. I think he actually deserves one more attack over Dex personally, since he does have blasters and cannon after all, but that's just me. The high Dex doesn't serve well. 4 speed personally is fine. If you want to bump it up to 5 speed and take out the attack, you'll be fine. You could also run 8 defense to be a walking tank, although you'll go with 3 speed, so that's your call. Attack takes out of Dex, which next to speed stance is one of the best to go for. I just wouldn't run Dex stance. You don't really gain anything off of it, and you take out of defense. So yeah, it's understandable why Isaiah isn't played. Although I don't think he isn't fun, at least for me. I like playing legends that are underrated, or take a bit more challenge to play or main. Although a lot of players don't do that. Likely why his play rate is down the toilet. Looks like we're covering all the underrated legends. Who's next? Thatch? Sentinel? Vector? I'm joking. Although they do still need to be covered. Anyways, I would suggest giving him a shot. Blasters are super fun to pick up, and Cannon might be a fun challenge for you to play. Keyword might. Cannon is a very big hit or miss weapon, considering its play rate. But I think Isaiah deserves a bit more play rate. There isn't anything annoying about him at all, and like I mentioned about Cross in his analysis video, Isaiah is one of those legends you have to respect when losing to. Some Isaiah mains just go nuts, trust me. Either way, that wraps it up for this analysis. I won't be doing an analysis next week because of Thanksgiving, although I might still upload something. We'll see what the future holds. Happy 6th Brawl anniversary, happy Thanksgiving, and of course, keep on brawling.